Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Fighting's Final here on the It's a Wrap Sports Networks, also streaming off of the Facebook and X accounts of Edge of Philly Sports. With your boy, Matty B, on the call. And South Philly, we got a problem. Yeah, we got a problem. Phillies lose tonight 7-2. Now trail 2-1 or on the brink of elimination to the New York friggin' Mets. And I would say I'm surprised, but I'm not going to say that because all season long, the Phillies have been playing like this. And more importantly, for the last half of the season, they have been playing like this. So I am not actually that surprised, but I know some of you diehard homers out there are having a fit right now. But 7-2 is your final, and it's the same recipe for disaster that it's been for the last 4.5 months. They've gotten above average to good starting pitching. Nola wasn't great. He did hang 2. Now 32 home runs surrendered on the year for Aaron Nola individually. 32 home runs in one season. I know he's got a problem with that. The Phillies pitching staff has now surrendered 124 home runs over the last 84 games. You do the math, that's a home run and a half a game. We're going to use the rule of 5 because you cannot hit a half a home run. So let's call it 2 home runs a game this Phillies pitching staff has averaged since the second half of the season. Again, I've been yammering on about that for like months, so I'm not surprised about the lack of or the home run issues with the pitching rotation. Then you factor in once again an anemic to uninterested offense that got nothing going at all until kind of late, where they had a little rally going, but they obviously could not break through from a 6-0 deficit. And the bullpen comes in once again and comes up short. Because once again, we don't have roles for our bullpen, and we're going to throw Kerkering back out there. You know, Ryan Kerkering was a great story a year ago, but he struggled in the postseason last year. And then all you homers out there, and yeah, I'm going off tonight, man. All you homers said, "Oh, he'll be better because he experienced the postseason." Is this better? I mean, he's worse than he was last year. He doesn't really. He comes in and just implodes again. Unfortunately, Nola gets credited for those runs, and then the rest of the bullpen, Estevez, whatever his name is, tripping off the mound, can't make a play, then he falls over the ball, whatever. Alvarado is Alvarado. For those of you who were asking the question over the last couple nights, why wasn't Alvarado put in the game at any point in Game 1 or Game 2? Well, now you got your friggin' answer because he came in tonight and was completely ineffective. And all that, you add that up, and once again, the Phillies come up short 7-2. And now are facing the brink of elimination. And I want to remind everybody, this is being shown on the It's a Wrap Sports Network, of course, also streaming off of the Facebook and X accounts of the Edge of Philly Sports. So how you guys feeling out there? It's great to be here with you tonight on the Fighting's Final. Alex checks in with us, break this team up and regroup. Alexa. Break this team up and regroup. Is it that easy, though, Alexa? I'm not saying you're wrong, but is it that easy? We still have a bunch of money tied up in a bunch of people over the next bunch of years. Next season, I guess if you look at this sort of holistically, you got Schwarber and you got, what was the other one? Real Muto entering their final contract years in 2025. Could you wiggle some room there? I don't know. Could you make a trade there? I don't know, but you still got Castellanos on the books through 2026. You still got Harper on the books till year 2100. You still got a lot of them tied up. Turner on the books for the next 9 years. I got it. Let's break it up. But is it that easy? Is it that easy? Now, there is a reckoning that has to happen. I agree. If things do completely implode in Flushing and the Phillies do go down, hell, I don't care if they lose tomorrow, if they lose in Game 5. If they do not advance past the first round, there has to be a reckoning. And Rob Thompson is part of that reckoning, and so is Dave Dombrowski, right? So is Dave Dombrowski, because let's look at what he has done to strengthen this ball club over. And again, we've talked about it. Over the last 3 trade deadlines, what has Dave Dombrowski done to push this team over the top? Nothing. Everything he's done over the last 3 trade deadlines has not worked out. The big bat pickup this offseason or this trade deadline was Austin Hayes. Now, I get it. I came out on the side of not wanting to blow up the farm system for all that. I understand. But was Austin Hayes really the best quality batter out there that you could find? Last year it was Castro they brought in for some offensive support. I don't know if Castro is still in the system. I think he might still be in AAA. I don't know where he's at, but he's not with the Phillies. So there has to be a reckoning. But breaking the team up, it might be easier said than done, Alexa, but I feel your frustration. I do. Robert says we need Angels in the outfield. Well, we traded them all to the Angels. I wouldn't completely break it up, but it's time to make changes. It is, Paul, but what changes are we going to make at the top, right? Are we going to make changes at the top? Once again, the Phillies swinging early, swinging often, made Manaea look like Cy Young out there as he had his redemption tour against the Phillies after getting tagged in that pivotal Game 5 of the NLCS 2 years ago when he was a Padre. They had him out there looking like friggin' Cy Young because their poor plate approach was once again evident. And then the sloppy base running from Alec Bohm, trying to stretch a single into a double. I know there's aggressive base running, and then there's stupid base running, and the Phillies kind of like teeter on that line all the time. Wasn't even close. He was dead out. So I'm not completely breaking it up. I don't think we can, honestly. I honestly don't think we can, but changes definitely had to be made. But what are those changes? What are those changes indeed? And Anthony says bums. Yeah, I agree. Steve, brother, thanks for finding us. I was wondering when you were going to pop up. Welcome to the It's a Wrap Sports Network, Steve, the new home of the Fight's Final, and of course my new network, the Emporium Perspective. Oh, here we go, bringing out the Emporium Perspective. Mets have thrown their best. If you can now hit Quintana tomorrow during the fight or flight, then you don't belong. All right, Steve, you're gonna go with the Emporium Perspective. I get it, but who are we putting out there tomorrow? Ranger Suarez, right? To be honest with you, I'll take Quintana at this point. You're asking like we're putting Steve Carlton out there tomorrow against Quintana. We're putting our Quintana out there tomorrow. So, fight or flight. I get you, and I get the perspective of the Emporium. For those of you who don't know what Steve's talking about, he's speaking of Big Al's Excuse Emporium for all of your Philadelphia sports excuse needs, servicing the greater Delaware Valley since 2024. Go down there. If you cannot survive the reality of your Philadelphia sports teams, Big Al's Excuse Emporium has you covered. I get it, Steve, but again, we also have our own Quintana pitching tomorrow. Have we forgotten who's pitching tomorrow? Now, do they scrap Suarez and do they throw Wheeler out there on 4 days rest? Do they do that? Don't forget, Wheeler would be pitching off of 4 days rest, and he also threw 111 pitches in his last start. But are we at that point now? Are we? Interesting situation here. Bullpen as bad as 2020 right now. Yeah, you know what, Paul? I get it. This is probably the part of the Phillies that no one was expecting, or probably part of the game of this team that nobody was expecting for it to implode. And there is something to that, all right? I'll give you that. I don't think anybody was out there looking for or had the bullpen coming up small on their bingo card. I'll get you there. But I've been saying it all year, Paul. I don't know if you've been around this show, if you followed this show at all. We do a post-game show. I don't want to get into the history of all of it, but we do a post-game show every night. And back in March, I mentioned the lack of roles. And I think it really kind of boils down to that, the lack of roles in the bullpen. This bullpen by committee was going to be the undoing of this baseball team. And here we are witnessing it firsthand. But yeah, the bullpen's pitching hella bad. I'm going to the Sixers game tomorrow because I expect a Game 5 Friday. Steve, I like the positive vibes. Please send him the Ranger Suarez's way. Please send them up to New York because we got to figure it out. And the Phillies got to get back to Philly, man. Dombrowski hasn't been bad, but he also hasn't been great. I don't really know how to take that. I mean, what the hell does that mean? Can you, well, he's not the GM, but as the president of baseball operations, so Dombrowski hasn't been good or bad, but he hasn't been great. So he's been meh. Is that what we got when we signed? Is that what the great genius of Dave Dombrowski was? Meh. I'd rather have either great or bad. I don't want a meh because that's exactly what Dave Dombrowski has done since he's been here. Meh. You know, the trade deadline has been meh, and some of his free agent signings have all been meh. So I get you, Steve, but I want one or the other. I don't want the middle of the road thing. I really don't. Let's head over to the box score because we got to break this thing down. We had a game tonight. The Phillies would finish with 2 runs on 5 hits. They had an error, which was a comical error to say the least, as Estevez tried to make a barehanded play on a ball where he didn't have to make a barehanded play. Then he tried to make the glove play, couldn't make that play, then he tripped over the baseball. So they get the error on that play. The Mets 7 runs on 9 hits and no errors. Offensively for the fighting Philadelphia Phillies, your 1 through 5 hitters. Now, a little bit of an offensive lineup note, of course, tonight. Bryson Stott got the magical benching in favor of Armando Sosa, who I believe entered the game 4 for 8 against Manaea. Lifetime. He did have a hit, Sosa, on the night. He was 1 for 2, and he did score a run there late in the game. But really nothing at all from anybody really offensively from this team. Nothing, concentrated. There wasn't any sustained offensive pressure yet again from the Phillies. Schwarber was 0 for 2 with 2 walks and a strikeout. Turner continues to come up small, 1 for 3. Harper, Mr. Clutch himself, 1 for 4, the leader of this team, 1 for 4. And then Castellanos, 1 for 4, Bohm, 1 for 4. Let's do the quick fuzzy math. There you got 5, 9, 13, you got 17, 1, 2, 3, 4. So your 1 through 5 batters were 4 for 17 tonight with, where's the RBI column? With 2 RBIs. So all the offensive run production did come from the top of the lineup, but they were a putrid 4 for 17 in the process. Austin Hayes, 0 for 3. Bryce Stott comes on as a pinch hitter, 0 for 1. Sosa, 1 for 2. And Cody Clemens, playing his very best Jake Cave, closing out the game for the Phillies tonight with a strikeout to end the game. Johan Rojas as well, not the answer in center field. I heard that from the Excuse Emporium this year, too, that Rojas would come in and play remarkably better this year because he had postseason experience. I wasn't really buying that at the time, and sure as hell ain't buying it now. For the Mets, Lindor was 1 for 5 with an RBI. Vientos, who started the season in AAA with the Syracuse Mets, and I actually saw him play early in the season when I was at a Syracuse Mets game, continues to frustrate the Phillies and frustrate Major League Baseball pitching altogether. 2 for 4 tonight. He's now batting 4 for 17 in the postseason. Pete Alonso, the great Philly killer himself, 1 for 2 with 2 runs, a homer, and an RBI. Iglesias, 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs. Winker, a monster jack, 1 for 3 with a run, a homer, and an RBI. That thing was an upper deck shot there at Citi Field. Sterling Marte, 2 for 3, and blah, 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 blah. Pitching-wise, Nola, let's talk about Nola. 5 innings, serviceable innings. You know what? Nola was not Nola tonight. He wasn't dominant Nola, but he was serviceable. He was what exactly he when he's not bad, and, it's funny because we always give Nola either he's on and he's good or he's off and he's terrible. He wasn't terrible tonight, but he wasn't great. But he kept the team in it. 5 innings, 5 hits, 4 runs. They were all earned, which, again, he gets tagged with 2 more runs when he was removed there, but because Kirkman couldn't do anything. So, I know what the stat says. Now, the walks were a little bit of a concern for Nola. He did give up 2 walks tonight, and those came back and bit him, as well as those 2 home runs, but he struck out 8 in the process. And then here comes the futile Philly bullpen. Kirkman, an inning. He gets credited on his official line with 1 inning of work and a hit, but we all know that was a huge hit with the bases loaded, driving in some runs. Alvarado, come on, man. A half an inning, gives up a hit, 2 runs. They were earned, walked 2, struck out 1, blah, blah, blah. Ruiz comes in, and then Estevez doing his best little tripping thing out there. Was he wearing ice skates on the mound? And there's your Philly pitching line for the night. For the Mets, Manaea, 7 innings, 7 dominant innings. He kept the Phillies guessing all night. 3 hits, 1 run. It was earned, 2 walks, and 6 strikeouts. Maton and Stanek come in and finish it up for the Mets. For the Phillies, they left 6 runners on. The Mets left 7. The Phillies were 2 for 7 with runners in scoring position. The Mets were 3 for 8. The Mets stole 1 base. Phillies stole none. And again, I told you the Phillies committed an error. Alonso would get things rolling for the Mets in the second on a home run for the Mets. It was 1-0. And then Winker with the moonshot in the 4th to make it 2-0. And then the Mets break it apart in the 6th with Marte with the bases loaded, knocking in Alonso and Nimmo to make it 4-0. And then Iglesias in the 7th, adding on some insurance when he would knock in Bader and Nimmo to make it 6-0. It could have been 7-0, but Alonso was thrown out. Yeah, I guess he was just trying to get greedy. The Phillies showed the only life of the night in the 8th inning. Harper would knock in Sosa to make it 6-1, and then Castellanos would knock in Schwarber to make it 6-2, and then Lindor throws some salt in the wound in the 8th as he makes it 7-2, and there you have Phillies losing 7-2, and they are now staring into the abyss, the brink of elimination against the New York Mets here tomorrow night, and Ranger Suarez will be the ferryman for the Phillies tomorrow, and if there's ever a time for something to get turned around and a switch to be flipped, it needs to be tomorrow night. Or do you go all out panic mode and you throw Zach Wheeler out there for Game 4? You say, Game 5, be damned. I got to get the Game 5 first before I can worry about Game 5. Do you say, I'm going with Wheeler? What does that do to Ranger Suarez's confidence going forward in his career as a Philadelphia Philly? What does Rob Thompson do? Is this a moment that Rob Thompson's built for? Is this a moment that you trust Rob Thompson to make the right decision? How does Rob Thompson handle Ranger Suarez and his terrible pitching since London in a elimination situation in a hostile environment of Citi Field? Do you let him pitch, or do you say, you know what, I got to get to Game 5. I got to do anything I possibly can to get to Game 5. Give me some Zach Wheeler, even on 4 days rest, even on 111 pitches his last time out. I need to get to Game 5. What do you do? Does Rob Thompson call Nick Sirianni asking for some advice? Please don't do that. What do you do, Philadelphia? What do you do? I guess we'll find out. But the Phillies lose tonight 7-2. And I lost complete. Oh, there I am. Should be kept. We should have kept Merrifield. Good God, man. Is it that bad? Manaea walks 2 guys with no outs, and Bryson Cassie swinging at the next 6 pitches. Unreal. Yes, Freddie Burns, they continue to just exhibit no plate discipline and no ability to take what a pitcher is trying to give them, or in this case, the defense. As you said, you walk 2 guys, you get 2 guys on base with nobody out. You got something going. Don't try to swing your way out of a rally. Continue to take what the pitchers are giving you. The Phillies don't do that. They've never do that. Does Rob Thompson have any say in the dugout about how they go about their hitting approach? Or is he afraid if you make a certain amount of money in Major League Baseball, are you not able to be coached anymore? What's the problem with that down there? Because it's extremely frustrating. Freaking Bowman 4 at-bats, saw 5 pitches. Yep, playing whack-a-mole up there, right? He's gonna win or tie the game on 1 pitch. They bite, can't win have to wait for next year, and all the fans can blame it on Harper like they always do. I'm not saying we're going to blame it on Harper. I'm not saying that. But you know what? You're damn right he's got a stake in this, right? He's got a stake in it just like everybody else does. He's supposed to be Mr. Clutch. He's supposed to be the guy they're paying all that money to. He came up in this game with, 3 situations to do some damage. Yeah, I think he broke through on the last one. But he hasn't been there. Nola didn't pitch great tonight, but he only gave up 2 runs. And things dinked and dunked all night long, and the Phillies could not get any offense going until the game was out of hand. That's on Harper. That's on Harper, Turner, Schwarber, Castellanos, and the rest of them. Yes, he does share blame. Harper is not immune to friggin' blame, and he shares a lot of it. Bohm was staring at the ball and the fielders instead of having his head down and running. Oh, when they were during the ill-advised stretching out of a single into a double. Yep. Needs some more outfield production. JT is still good defensively, but hitting, he seems to have declined. Rojas good defensively, but can't hit, shortens the lineup. Again, these are questions, and these are things, and this is the funny thing about coming on here tonight. And I know I've not seen a lot of you people before in this chat, so I'm taking it your first-time visitors to the Fighting's Final. If you are, welcome. Remember, you can find us on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. I don't know how long we're going to be able to stream off of Edge of Philly Sports social media. So please, if you want to catch or continue to watch this show, along with some other great programming on the It's a Wrap Sports Network, to include a top-notch Flyers post-game show that will debut here on Friday night, and the final word with yours truly, Matty B, airing every weeknight, or Sunday through Thursdays at 10 p.m. You need to go to that YouTube channel and click on it and subscribe and like and notify and all that stuff, because that's where we are located. Again, these are things that we've gone over in nauseum. Well, I should say I have gone over in nauseum on this show throughout the years, really since 2022, and more so, of course, this year. I was watching this game, and yes, feeling frustrated, feeling as vile as a lot of you feel tonight. But it's not like this is new to me or this is a surprise to me. This has been what this team has been like since game 82 of this season. This is what a 42-39 team, I think that was their second half record, is. Yeah, they lack offensive production consistently. The stat about the home runs, it's just amazing. It's an amazing number. They gave up 64 home runs as a pitching staff in the first half of the season. The first 81 games of this year, they gave up 64 home runs. Since then, over the last 84 games, to include 3 here in the postseason, they've given up 124 home runs as a staff. It's about 2 a game. You can't win like that. And that's not something that just manifested overnight. It's been going on for 3 months. It's absolutely amazing. This team needs new direction and new purpose. Strama's gotten away with having a put-away pitch for a while. Damn shame he wasn't given the 7th inning role. Steve, say it correctly. The 7th inning role du jour, because there is no roles. Steve, I want you to be straight up honest here. If you're going to say he's going to get a 7th inning role, say it what it is. He would be the 7th inning role du jour, because tomorrow it could be somebody else. That's the problem, Steve. Nobody can get comfortable in the bullpen. Nobody knows what position they're going to go out in, and that's not a way to run a bullpen. It never has been, and I'm so friggin' sick and tired of it. I got the RISP tattoo on my forehead, but next to that is going to be defined roles in the friggin' bullpen, man. How much more do we have to see to know that this doesn't work? That was brutal and pathetic. It was, Phil. It absolutely was. It's a relief to see Andrew Painter pitching in the fall league. Oh, he actually went to the fall league? Wow, I'm surprised. We had to have fakes, folks, earn the money. Steve, are you working for the Excuse Emporium these days? Did Al hire you on as seasonal help? Are you the holiday guy? Are you going to be working for the holidays? Holy crap, man. You're going to give me an Andrew Painter reference as the season's about to go down in flames? The leash got shorter for Ranger tomorrow. I think he goes 4+ of scoreless ball. That would be the first time Stevie's done that since early June. And I pray you're right. I absolutely 100% pray you're right. But that would be the first time he's done that since the beginning of June. And so the trend is saying it's not going to happen. But it better. Or does Rob decide at the last minute or tonight, while he's tossing and turning in the Holiday Inn Express at the Flushing Queens Airport, does he say, you know what? I can't live it myself. I can't go out like this. I can't go down like this. Zach Wheeler, you're pitching. Does he do that? Or does he do something even worse? Schedule a bullpen game. Or is that what Rangers game will be? So I think it's going to be a restless night for Rob Thompson. I would be surprised. I would not be surprised. Matter of fact, I might actually favor it. This Philly team has been lifeless before the playoffs. They have no dog in them, and the Phillies should be playing every playoff game like it's Game 7. Mike, can't agree more. They've been lifeless since Game 82, for the most part. And tonight, again, was it really a surprise to a lot of people? Based on what this team has been over the last 4 months. And yeah, I said 4 months, not like 2 weeks. I said 4 months. This is what you've been seeing. This is the same team that left the field, that finished the regular season. This is the same team that came back from London. This is the same team that went out or came back after the All-Star break. There's nothing new here. So again, be upset. Be frustrated. Absolutely. But don't be surprised, because this is the same team. The October, what did I call it with Al the other night when I was doing a show with him? The Halloween fairy has yet to arrive and sprinkle the magic dust all over the Phillies. So maybe he comes tomorrow. I don't know. Maybe it happens tomorrow. We'll see. I have no confidence in Robbie since the day he was hired. Yeah, here we go. We know, Mike. We absolutely know. Harper's been pretty damn clutch for the most part. Again, here we go. Here come the homers, man. Here they come. Here come the homers right out the woodwork. We're going to start defending St. Bryce. Because God forbid you put Bryce Harper on blast for not performing and not delivering what he's supposed to deliver. Fred, he's got some monster numbers, but if you kind of break it down, and I have not broke it down, and maybe I will break it down. Maybe we'll start keeping a new stat next year with runners in scoring position, Bryce Harper's batting average. And again, I know you can find that, but I would be hard pressed to jump up and say, you're right, Fred. Bryce Harper's been clutch for the most part. He has not. He has disappeared for long stretches of the season. And he's come back, knocked out, hit 8 home runs, driven in 25 runs, captured the Player of the Month award, and then rode that into obscurity for the next 6 weeks, and then comes back in and does more. But we don't need that right now. We need the Bryce Harper. What's he, 2 for 9 so far in the postseason? 2 for 9 with a homer and a couple RBIs. Where was he tonight? Where was he tonight? Pete Alonso was there for the Mets. Friggin' Vientos, who started out in the friggin' minor leagues, he was there for the Mets. Where was our guy? Where was our $333 million man? Is that how much he's getting paid? Where was he? He was nowhere to be found. Matty, things are crashing down on us. Actually, they've been playing this way. Yes, Barbara. And by the way, welcome. Nice to see you too, Barbara. It's good I'm talking about, man. I'm talking about it. Guys, get over here. Don't forget, it's the Rap Sports Network, the new home of the Fighting's Final. Yeah, they have, Barbara. And actually, I'm going to double down on you, Barbara. It's been 4 months, not 3. Oh, man. This live has been constructed wrong. Absolutely, Bryce stopped batting 5th. Kyle Schwarber leading off. But, hang on, Michael. We can't do that. The homers will revolt. The homers out there will revolt. They'll take away your Philadelphia Philly fan card if you question the lineup construction and the way it's set up every night. If you question the fact that Kyle Schwarber, in no universe, in no spirit of existence, deserves to be leading off. And that Bryson Stott, prior to his benching tonight, of course, doesn't need to be batting 5th. Be careful. They're going to come for your card. And I guess, of course, he's not going to sit up there and say he had no answers and he doesn't know what's going on. And God forbid things will get turned around, Barbara. What would you expect from Rob Thompson at this particular moment in time? But with that being said, I don't have any sponsors here on the show, but let's head on to the Broad Street Bottom Line. All right, the Broad Street Bottom Line, I guess, sponsored tonight by the It's a Rap Sports Network and me, is pure and simple. This is not what this is supposed to be. This is not the team that was constructed. This is not what these players are supposed to be doing. Well, no, that is the bottom line. I mean, I could come up with some great jargon and analytics and throw out some X's and O's. The bottom line is this team is just on paper being paid, and I didn't say they're just too good. They're too good on paper. I didn't say that. They're being paid too much on paper to be playing like this. So either, as some of you have already suggested, that it's time to break up the band at the end of this, or it's find a new way to motivate them. And obviously they can't break up the band. They may make some tweaks. They may try to move somebody, an expiring contract. As I mentioned, Schwarber, Realmuto moving out into their final year of contract eligibility next year. Maybe they move one of them. But there's got to be a new voice. There's got to be a new direction. Now, it might not be as easy as firing Rob Thompson too. Could you bring a manager in, and then what kind of manager do you go? Do you go back to the old school Joe Girardi-ish type manager? Don Mattingly is still out there, by the way, for all you people who are wondering who could be the next Philly manager. Don Mattingly is still available. I would love to see him here. But does a Don Mattingly, will he be able to get through to this bunch of players who've been doing it their way for so long? So it's not necessarily that easy, I think, to fire Rob Thompson. It's the popular answer and truly will probably be the most talked about thing if the Phillies cannot figure themselves out and get past the first round of the playoffs. But that's not necessarily going to be the easiest thing. Because can the manager come in, and what type of manager do they bring here to try to get them back on track? But the bottom line for me tonight, this team is getting paid way too much money to perform like this. And again, it's not a surprise to me. I've been watching it for the last 85 games or 84 games. I've been watching it myself for 84 games. Being a proud member of the Fighting's Final staff, I spent a lot of time watching Phillies games. And I've been watching this type of baseball for the last 4 months. So yes, it's not a surprise to me. But the bottom line is they're being paid way too much to be playing like this. Not coming up clutch offensively. Having a real problem trying to figure out what a pitcher's trying to do to them on the mound. The whack-a-mole, the not stretching any. What did he have? 3 innings tonight, Manaea, of less than 10 pitches or less of work? That's disgusting. That's terrible. That's terrible plate discipline. The Phillies are not able to work counts or to see what a pitcher is trying to do for them. We talked about it last year. We blamed it solely on why the Phillies were eliminated by the Diamondbacks. Nothing has changed from 2023 to 24 with this team's plate approach consistently. They're still trying to go out there and win the game with the swing of a bat. And even though Rob Thompson promised us last November they would fix that, but they obviously have not. So the bottom line is they're being paid too much to play this way, and it got to change. And Rob Thompson's got to do something. I mean, last year we went down this same rabbit hole. It was a little bit of longer, we were in the playoffs longer, but it was the same sort of unraveling. The bullpen came up small. It was Rob Thompson's, managerial decision. I don't know if you can blame Rob Thompson for making bad decisions in this series. You might point to the bullpen choices, but again, how can you blame him when there's no roles? Like, you can blame him for the no roles, but how can you blame him when there's no roles? It's frustrating on so many levels, but the bottom line is this team is just getting, and I'm not saying that they're too good on paper. I'm not saying that. They're being paid too much on paper to be playing like this. And there's your Broad Street bottom line. Walter says bullpen game tomorrow or Wheeler. Serenity now, insanity later. Absolutely, Barbara. 2025, the last winning season. The Nationals are coming. Yeah, it could be. It could be the beginning of the end. I don't know. It could be. I mean, they lost the World Series in 22, right? They lost in the NLCS last year. This year is looking like the NLDS, and then next year would be what? The wild card, correct? And then 2026, that's it. They're not going to come. They're not going to be out. They'll be out of the playoffs. The Phillies hitters are too predictable. The other team doesn't even have to throw strikes. No, they don't. It's very predictable. Throw junk. Throw it in the ground. Throw it anywhere but near the plate, and they will swing. I don't think this bunch of Phillies players could handle a harder manager that will hold them accountable. And there is the problem, Barbara, right? It's not a problem to fire Rob Thompson. That's the easy part, right? And obviously that's probably what, I don't know if anybody, is there anybody out there that's actually going to say, if they do fail to advance in this, is there anybody out there that's going to say, you just give Thompson another year? No, no one's. Everyone's going to want him out because that's the easy thing to do. Fire the manager. But where do you go from there? Who do you bring in here? John Middleton's going to have a lot of decisions to make this offspring. And I'm telling you, Dave Dombrowski should not be off the hook for this as well. I mean, Schwarber's his, right? Castellanos is his. Turner is his. These trade deadline moves that he's made over the last 3 seasons that have not worked out are his. So Dombrowski's fingerprints are all over this thing too. So you're right. It's going to be an interesting offseason if things don't work out. Where Robbie won't make any changes to his lineup in the top 3. He only made 4 changes. Yeah. Oh, we already know that, Michael. That's already coming down. I mean, Robbie is afraid to move Schwarber to 4 in the lineup. Yeah. Again, Mike, we've been talking about this for years, me and you, and you on this program with others. We've been talking about the same problem, that they just are not able. And Rob Thompson's loyal. His loyalty is going to be his undoing. Absolutely. But, yeah. It's frustrating, man. It's just, and it's so frustrating. The most frustrating part about this is that we're just talking about it over and over and over again. Nothing gets changed. I have no clue why the Mets would pitch to Harper, and as nobody is after him, I would mean they changed. Mike, they pitched to Harper. In my opinion, they went after Harper because they were going to throw him something. They were going to throw him something down low and either walk him, no harm, no foul, or he was going to swing away and strike out or ground out or pop up because there's no plate discipline and there's no concern about Harper trying to actually work a count or to make a pitcher give him something to throw. I mean, it's pretty simple if you ask me. Pretty simple. All right, let's head over now to around the bases because we got one other game going on. All right, so far around the bases on this Tuesday night, we do have one other game getting ready to get underway in about 10 minutes or 20 minutes or so out there in San Diego. The Dodgers and the Padres will renew, round 3, ding, 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 as they will step back in the ring this time in San Diego, game 3 of that series. Should be an interesting watch, of course, coming off of what happened in game 2. And that is the only other action in Major League Baseball tonight. Of course, Phillies lost earlier, or lost 7-2, which now sets up the stage for tomorrow in Flushing, 5:08 start time. Ranger Suarez, God help us, is slated to get to start against Jose Quintana with the season on the line, and Ranger Suarez is the only thing standing in our way of elimination. So if we were waiting for Ranger to have his bounce back, if you were patiently waiting for his core problems to rectify themselves and the velocity to return to the April-May Ranger Suarez, well, the wait is over because tomorrow is do or die time. If Rob Thompson decides to continue that trajectory, or does he make a last-minute Hail Mary and fire up Zach Wheeler with the season on the line, potentially damaging Ranger Suarez's psyche in the process. So more to follow on that, but tomorrow, 5:08 p.m., first pitch at Citi Field, Quintana versus Ranger Suarez with the season on the line. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Too many first baseman DH types on this team. It's poorly constructed, home run or nothing. Absolutely, Barbara. Absolutely. Now, again, do I think the Phillies could get value for some of these players if they traded them now, even with the current contracts of some of them? I think they could. But that would also signal to the rest of Major League Baseball that the Phillies are panicking, and that, the prices might not be as high to try to move some of these guys along the way. I fear, Barbara, that we've jumped in the bed with them. We got to lay with them, and we got to run this thing out till it bottoms out this way. And this is the damage, or this is the problem with doing it like this. When you gamble and you start throwing big money around, that's great. But if you bring in the wrong people, wow, it's bad. And right now it's looking bad. Robbie is a definition of crazy. He is. And Walter says, let's go Flyers. Hey, everybody, I want to thank you all for your contributions tonight to the Fightins final. Phillies lose 7-2. Lifeless. No dog in them. No hunt. No warrior code. No spirit. We were all fooled thinking that this team was woken up yesterday or 2 days ago when they had that big come-from-behind win. And you know what? Think about it like this. I guess barring that come-from-behind, this series should be over, right? This series really should be over. But it's not, and the Phillies still do have a shot here, but you wanted more. You thought you were going to get more from a team that should have won this, should be the favorite to win the series, should be a favorite to go to the World Series and win a championship. But they once again came up small on a very big stage to the New York Mets. Nola pitched well. Not great, but not terrible. He kept his team in the game, but his offense once again found a way to not produce nothing for him. And then the bullpen comes in, and, well, you know the rest of the story. Phillies pitching has now surrendered 124 home runs over the last 84 games. It's about a home run and a half a game And using the rule of 5, round that bad boy up to 2. So Aaron Nola has now surrendered 32 home runs on the season, and that's not going to get it done. It's absolutely not going to get it done. So let's go Flyers. Many love the Flyers. I'll be here whenever I can. Barbara, I appreciate your support. Of course, everybody, the situation with EOP, it's over now. We're moving on. I went on last night on my show and kind of gave my final say to it. So, I appreciate all the help from people out there that were fans of this show, were fans of any of the shows that used to be on the Edge Philly Sports that have now kind of gone off on their own direction. So go out there and find them. They're there, and just please help them out. Most of us have started our own networks and started to kind of go that road. So please support us as we're trying to rebuild ourselves after a bomb went off. So, it's tough, but we got to keep moving forward. And that's what the Phillies are going to have to do, man. That's what the Phillies have to do. We can't sit back here and start, lamenting. The Phillies are going to have to really figure things out. Is there a lineup shakeup coming? Does Bryson Stott get back in the lineup? Is Austin Hayes done? I mean, what does Rob Thompson do offensively tomorrow with this team? Is it going to be Ranger Suarez? Does he actually go with Ranger tomorrow? And does Ranger actually maybe write a Hollywood script for himself and all of a sudden pitch like he pitched back in May? Could all this be happening in front of our eyes? So it's going to be an interesting way to see this thing kind of wrap up tomorrow. But they're going to have to go out there and fight with everything they have left. And do they have that in them? Do they have that tenacity to not let the season go away? These are all great questions that I don't think anybody has the answers to include the Phillies, and that's the problem. But they're going to try it tomorrow at same start time as today. Ranger Suarez against Jose Quintana, and the Phillies season resting in the arms of Ranger Suarez. At least Middleton will have the balls to fire, unlike Laurie with Sirianni. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Win tomorrow. That's a job. That's job one. That's it, Barbara. You got to start and you got to win tomorrow. But Phillies' backs are against the wall. We're going to see how they come out. We'll be back here tomorrow night with you as well, win or lose. I believe tomorrow is Sal and Pat on the call. So they'll be here bringing you the Fightins final, hopefully talking about a Game 5 on Friday. And don't forget, after the Fightins final tomorrow night, my show, The Final Word with Matty B, will be around 10 o'clock tomorrow night. There will be no show tonight, seeing how I'm on the final. So I'm not going to come back and give you a show in about an hour. So I'll wait till tomorrow night to come back for that. But don't forget, the Fightins final will be on this network immediately following the game tomorrow night. Pat and Sal got the call. And I will see you on tomorrow night as well on my show, The Final Word with Matty B. So absolutely, Barbara, keep the faith. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you guys tomorrow. It's do or die time. Do or die time in New York. And the Phillies are dying. And can they pull it back? So we'll talk tomorrow. Good night, everybody.